Hello, beautiful soul. Awesome. Okay, so I have completed your epic alignment session. And oh my goodness, so the channeling of, let's see how many pages it turned out to be. So it's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. And we're talking about little writing too, not like big writing. Okay, now I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff. And before I get started and all of that, I do want to kind of like mention what type of session this is, okay? So we're doing two different types of clearing works here. The first clearing work is developed and based on the program Vital Life Force Energy Mastery. Awesome. Now, every time we do soul realignment session work, we heal our God sparks more and more. And this brings us into access of more and more vital life force energy, which is when we come into alignment, right? And we are healed from all of our past choices and consequences and all of that stuff. And, you know, stepping more into that energy is non-consumable, right? And it's infinite, meaning that, you know, it's never, you know, there's, it's never going to stop, right? Now, we're also highly engaged in what's called discordant energy. Now, this is the energy that we exchange between us and other beings, other human beings. Also, we exchange them in groups of beings, and society, like government, schools, just society in general. Now, discordant energies aren't bad energies, okay? But they are consumable. Now, also too, we can run into what's called energy deficit. And for the sake of this particular session, that's the area we want to target, is any discordant energy deficits that you may be incurring at this time. Now, it's taking us thousands and thousands and thousands of years to build these discordant energies. Now, we generally have anywhere from 2 to 3 energetic qualities for these discordant energies. Now, of course, we experience a rainbow of energies and emotions, right? But these are just the energetic quality of these particular blocks. And I'm going to use the word block as a reference. Think of them like building blocks, right? Builds our reality. Now, discordant energy blocks are blocks that we share with others, with society, with planet Gaia. Now, our vital life force energy blocks are our own unique set of blocks, meaning we don't have to share them. There's more than enough energy there. In other words, you never run into a deficit. It's just a really beautiful space. And in your recent session with your mom and everything, it's kind of an example of someone that has a lot of vital life force energy and someone that does not. Because it requires vital life force energy to manifest our circumstances and our realities, which also too, for me, in my paradigm, I do know that our higher selves want to come into the physical, right? Choose a vessel. But it requires a lot of vital life force energy for that to happen. Meaning we could live for lifetimes, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And of course, the more vital life force energy we access, the better our bodies rejuvenate, the longer they last, better health, better everything, more abundance, just all of it. Oh, so yes, you know, and we do that. We do access more and more vital life force energy through soul realignment. Now, in this particular session, we're going to access more vital life force energy in an attempt to forego, let's say, you know, a dozen soul realignment sessions. Now, you are going to shift with this experience. Now, like I said, a portion of this is the vital life force energy mastery clearing, but it's more like hitting the reset button. Okay, what we do is we energetically stop all the discordant energy and all the energy deficits. So when I was going through that program and getting my certification on it, I went through that. And it was like eating rotten eggs with rotten curdled milk. I mean, it was horrible. Just, it felt horrible. The symptoms were horrible. Now, I did produce results. Don't get me wrong. My results did come. However, I shifted. Okay, let's say I was over here. And then suddenly I went, whoa, way over there, which was really cool. Suddenly, all this stuff was happening, and I was like, oh my goodness. Things that I'd been working on for years that I was just like, felt stuck, could not achieve. So I just kept putting it on the back burner. And every now and then I'd ask the universe, why is this not happening yet? Where is it? Why is it not here? Not that I wasn't manifesting and continuing to produce results, I was, but there were certain things that I just could not quite achieve. Well, I achieved them on that clearing. The actual clearing of the process was horrible. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to put my clients through that. So of course, then I went on to give birth to epic alignment. Now, there was another thing that I was not pleased with, was the fact that I shifted way over here, but then I bounced way back. Not all the way back, but too much for my expectation or for my satisfaction, period. With soul realignment, clients, and this is why I love it so much, is they produce results and they last. It's not like you shift and you kind of get over here and you slide back. Now, not everyone pushes through the dissonance the first time or the second time, but eventually they do get to their new manifestation. But it's not from sliding backwards. It's more about they just get right here and then they just need more and more energy, more momentum to push them forward. Now, in soul realignment, I would say it's like pretty much 100%. I mean, you shift and that's your results, 100%. However, there are some that slightly slide back. Like you'll go, phew, and you'll slightly come back. So we're talking, so 99.9 or 99%. I mean, 1 to 2%. And that's it. With the vital life force energy, it was more like I went back 75%. So those were two big issues for me, the experience and lasting results. So the second part of this energy work is a multi-generational past life clearing. And it is kind of how these discordant energies were established and how they could still be affecting you today. Now that clearing is permanent. But in an attempt, so you're going to be receiving a clearing at the physical, right? And it's temporary. It's just like reset, reboot, in an attempt so that you can come more into vital life force energy, release more energy deficit and or discordant energies, which is why there's such a setback, right? You go and then you get here and then you come way back. So the multi-generational past life is going to be giving you equal momentum from the higher self down to the physical. The same momentum that you get from the clearing work from the physical up to the higher self, which we're going to be going at it from two directions, right? And I have seen phenomenal results. No backsliding, now the dissonance is a little more intense, so be prepared. Just be a warrior, be a champion, and keep pushing through it, right? Keep taking action and say, no dissonance. But I have found that a lot of the symptoms that I experienced are now null and void. So I don't even mention those anymore because no one that has received this work has had any kind of those symptoms. So awesome. And everyone is pretty much sad that it feels like it's you're on cloud nine. Now, I still haven't done one for myself, which I will be doing this weekend, hopefully. Yes, this weekend. We have a new moon coming up next week, I think. So definitely mine is going to happen this weekend. Now, I have done the vital life force energy, obviously, but I hated it, right? I hated the experience. It did produce results, but then I had some big, huge backslide. So I'm really excited to see my results with the epic alignment, which it has kind of given me a very interesting perspective because I can observe without my own experiencing interfering with that observation, which is kind of cool. Yay. Now, let's talk more about these discordant energies. Now, it's not like we have 15 million different types of energies. Like I said, it's 2 to 3 energetic qualities. Now, the energetic qualities of your discordant energy is appreciation, sacrifice, and significance. So see, it's not bad. So don't get this big idea that this is all bad. No. It's just that in order to ascend, right, and become our higher selves, we want to let go of it. Think of this like a marathon. It's not a race, okay? So, go at your own pace. Enjoy the journey, right? Enjoy the process. Now, and like I said, now also too, the discordant energy is highly addicted. It makes us feel good. Otherwise, we would not do it. But it's also created a very safe environment for us to do our ascension in. Before it used to be very difficult to just survive on this planet. But now we're in 2020, and we've literally got the world at our fingertips. We're stepping into awareness and consciousness and just all of, this beautiful, finally, right? Now, so in an attempt, we're going to reset, reboot your energies. Now, you may feel disconnected, like suddenly, what's going on? What? But don't worry. No one's going anywhere. It's not like you're going to lose relationships over this. In fact, if anything, in my experience and what I've seen and experienced by others, is the relationship grows. Okay? It deepens. It goes to a new level of relationship. And especially the more vital life force energy that you come into, you just become, it's not that you don't love these people or you're not connected to them anymore. No. It's just that you are more you. And you tend to show up more authentically, more healed, more loving. Okay? Now, in this session work, we were able to clear 4 generations of your past life. Now, this was a generational past life, meaning that you were incarnating with the same souls, okay, over and over. Now, it doesn't mean that 4 generations, like great grandmother, grandfather. No, it could have skipped some generations, but these are 4 incarnations that you had in a multi-generational incarnation with these souls. So we just want to go over the ones where you are actually incarnated in this multi-generational soul contract. Now, the next thing that we're going to go over is, and there were 9 souls involved in this multi-generational incarnation. The next thing that we're going to go over is your karmic debt and your karmic credit. Now, One karmic credit, just like vital life force energy, is a lot. I mean, and it's basically our karmic money, right? We set up soul contracts, depending on, you know, we'll set up a soul contract with this soul, and they're supposed to come in if we get sidetracked over here and get us back over here. And so we have all these soul contracts going on. Now, we generally choose to exchange karmic money in order for this to take place. However, the karmic bank keepers are, it reminds me of Harry Potter. Do you remember when Harry Potter went to the bank and there were all those little elves in there, or gnomes, or whatever they were called, house elves? And they were just, or goblins. Anyway, they were just so cranky and old, and they could care less, right? They were like, here you go. Well, that's kind of how the Akashic karmic bank keepers are too. They're bored, they're cranky, and they just don't care. They just don't do their job right. And this all came up through epic alignment. The karmic bank has been in my awareness for several years now, especially ever since I went full-time into my energy work. I've been working towards manifesting my karmic bank into the physical. One credit would probably be more than enough wealth for me to live the rest of my life. It is a lot. Now, this work actually gave birth to a new activation called the karmic bank contract. It actually comes with a contract where you agree to withdraw one karmic credit for physical manifestation. And that's the main reason that the karmic bank keepers are so bored and frustrated. It's because no one is aware of this. No one's actively doing this, okay? Most of us create wealth and abundance through discordant energies, okay? So now we're going to start manifesting and creating from our vital life force energy. So we are ready to start making karmic bank withdrawals into the physical. Now, another problem that came up in this work, and this is something that I did in this session, was because of the karmic bank keepers are just could care less. They don't really keep track. So I found this early on in my soul realignment journey that there were some karmic contracts that owed me and that I owed on. So I balanced all that out, right? But in this particular session work, we're mainly focusing on negative soul contracts. So these are soul contracts where they owe you karmic credit, okay? In other words, they owe you. Now, the karmic activation will also come with that same clearing session. We can only clear up to 25 at a time simply because, you know, that's the bank keepers, karmic bank keepers rules, whatever. And they also have like this whole list of stipulations on the contract where they'll pay like interest, 3% interest for 3% donations to an approved, it has to be an approved, what do you want to call it? Whatever we donate money to, charity. It has to be an approved charity. It cannot be a charity that involves free will. For example, like alcohol addiction or drug addiction, because that's someone's free will. We cannot donate to those. Now we can, of course we can, but they're not going to pay interest on those type of charities because that's free will. Now I guess that would be interfering with others' free will or their consequences of their choices and actions. But anyway, regardless, things like for the planet, you know, of course, are approved. And anything involving children, you know, children abuse or whatever, that's approved. So there is like a list of types of charities that are approved. Now, I think it's 3%, and then whatever percent you donate, they'll pay percent in interest, up to 10%. After 10%, that's it. So, anyway, pretty cool stuff, right? So your karmic debt is at 61%, and your karmic credit is at 39%. Now, 39% karmic credit is a lot. Now, once you reach 100%, then you would go into what's called escrow, meaning it does continue to go up. Now, what I found is that a lot of that karmic debt is just lack of the bank keeper's work or their accounting. Like they're not doing their accounting. Which it came through a spirit guide channeling message in a session recently, where now they're all like running around like with turkeys with their head cut off, and it's just got everyone abuzz like, oh my goodness, divine empowerment's put us to work. So in this particular session, we were able to clear 21 negative soul contracts, okay, for you. Now, what that means is, of course, any karmic credit that they owed you, it's going to be put into your karmic bank. So, awesome. Now, we were also able to clear, no, before I get into that, I want to go over your energy deficit, which is quite a lot. Now, a discordant energy deficit is when you overgive, right? You're in this, you're sharing these energetic blocks, right, of discordant energy. However, the other party is not giving equally. You are giving more than you are receiving. Now, it's only appropriate that we receive as much as we give. So that's the area we want to target first, right? We want to dissolve that energy deficit and turn that into vital life force energy. Now, your energy deficit is at 11%. So this is going to be huge for you. You think you feel great right now? Just wait and see what happens. So awesome. Now, I am going to go over the specifics of there's so many papers, of the energy deficits. Now, remember, most people before soul realignment or any type of energy work, they're operating on less than 1% vital life force energy. And some people are living very well. Some people have zero, especially Draconian soul groups. There are some soul groups that do not have any vital life force energy. They are not aligned to their divine soul blueprint whatsoever. And they are very successful. So it doesn't mean that you're not successful if you have very little vital life force energy. However, most people, even the light soul groups or whatever you want to call us, I don't know. They, star seeds. So it's like 1% or less. Now, so 1% can be a lot. So again, I'm not going to go over all the numbers simply because, we tend to get into judgment and, look at it like a credit or like a scorecard, and it's not. This is just an attempt for you to access more vital life force energy. But 11% is in your energy deficit, and it's rooted in 3 life areas. 3% is in your career, and it's with one individual. And the energetic quality is appreciation. So there's one individual in your career, but this could also be a past career. So be discerning here, right? And it's not like you got to go and hunt down this person and energetically cut them off or anything like that. We just kind of go over this in case, if there is something that comes to mind, you're aware of it. And it'll definitely help you release it, okay? More so than but you're still going to release it. There's still, the reset is done, but it is temporary. Now, the other life area was primary relationship, and it was at 4% in the energy of sacrifice, and it's with one individual. Now, I know you think sacrifice. Don't think of it like in a negative way. Sacrifice can feel really good when we sacrifice for our love for someone, when someone sacrifices for us to be with us. I mean, it feels good. Otherwise, we would not do it. You know, our endocrine system is highly addicted to discordant energies because it makes us feel significant. It makes us feel appreciated. It makes us feel like, ooh, someone's sacrificing for me. It makes us feel good. Now, this may be someone that you're involved with now. It could be someone from your past. Now, the other life area was friendship at 3%, an energy of appreciation, and it's with 2 individuals. Now, for myself, when I did this, I knew immediately who that was. I mean, I knew who my energy deficit was. Now, you may or may not. Used to, before the epic alignment was finalized, they would get triggered. Seriously. That's what happened with my experience. Because I didn't do the epic alignment, I did just the vital life force energy. But that's not happening now, so awesome. Again, it's not like you got to go and try to hunt down people or energetically block them, or, you know, we just want to reset and we want to focus your attention on releasing that energy deficit, discordant energies, and stepping more into your vital life force energy. Now, there was something else interesting about your reading, is you're the first client that has discordant energy in every single life area. So you probably, that's really solid foundation, and it probably feels really balanced for you. So, you know, you might experience a little bit of, you know, dizziness, or like things might go a little wonky. So I just want to bring that to your attention. And the life areas would be career, finances, health, primary relationship, family, friendship, rest and relaxation, personal and spiritual development, and physical surroundings. So it was in all. And that's the first time. So that means that, you know, it's really solid. It's really, you know, balanced out. There was not anyone that was like huge and, you know, but you're going to love this session work. Now, we're going to get into the past life situation. And the first thing I'm going to go over is, in this past lives, you have discordant, we're also, oh no, I'll go there in a second. You had discordant energies with society. And the quality was appreciation. And it involved religion, tribe, and occult. You also had discordant energy with organizations. And the quality was sacrifice. And it involved religion and secret society. And with the government, you also had discordant energy with, and the energetic quality was sacrifice, and it was just government, not any particular thing about it. Now, with your relationships, you had it in your immediate family, in your second and third family lines, with the energetic quality of significance. Now, with your immediate family, you played the roles of warrior and protector. And with your second and third lines of family, you played healer and leader. In your primary relationship, you also had discordant energy with the energy of sacrifice, the quality, and you played the roles savior and hero. You also had it with your friendships. The energetic quality was appreciation, and you played the roles peacemaker and teacher. Now, you may still, to this day, just root for the underdog, even if they're in the wrong. There's something innate with you about wanting to be a savior and a hero. This need that if they're an underdog, you're on their side, period. Even if it goes against all things that you believe in, it can be a little bit distracting you from your mission work, from your purpose. Now, in this session work, it involved 3 vows: poverty, suffering, and sacrifice. So we definitely cleared those. And I found that vows are very deep and interwoven in our Akashic records. It's almost as if they're like, I feel like I could clear vows from now to the end of time, and it just would never be enough clearing work. But with this multi-generational, I am seeing a much loosening with the vows that are, they've just been so threaded in there, like material, just, try like 10,000 thread counters. They're just very woven into our Akashic records. Now, we were also able to clear blocks under the energy of anger, chaos, worry, and disempowerment. I think that's everything that I need to go over. Now we're going to get into the past life. Get them in order here. Okay. Now, all these past lives occurred in Egypt. Now, it would have been a long time ago. In this lifetime, in the first one, in this lifetime, your family lived in Egypt, and your father was a high priest in the Egyptian religious order. He ran it very similar to an occult, or like a cult type energy, a cult, and placed heavy weights on the Egyptians at that time. He was a powerful speaker, and leaned on the side of pissing people off. Like he just really pushed hard. Now, as soon as you were able to walk and talk, you were like little bitty. He began to teach you to write, and he would make you practice all day and night. Your hands would have blisters and cramps, even bleeding, and he would still make you practice. At a very young age, you became his audiographer, meaning you wrote everything that he asked you to. And you had to transcribe all of his sermons, his meetings, and journal entries. So you were pretty busy. Soon your hand, now this is before pens. So we're talking like really difficult writing. Soon your hand became permanently fixed in almost handwriting way. And you may even still have get cramps when you write, or you might write very strong or intensely. And if you write a lot, your hand might still get cramped. Soon, your hand became permanently fixed in an almost handwriting way. Now, you could still move it to a degree, but it was kind of stiffening up. Your mother, on the other hand, was a socialite. She was and didn't really show much interest in you or anyone else besides herself. She had 2 more children, and they were both daughters, and they were younger than you, so you were the oldest. and whom she paid even less attention to. You had very little freedom or time to yourself, but when you did, you would make hand puppets, okay? And with them, you would live out the life that you wish that you had in this lifetime. So it did kind of like help you to deal with this situation, and it gave you kind of an escape. You would hide the puppets in a box under your bed and pray to the protector God to watch over them for you. By the time you became a teenager, you had more than a dozen puppets, and your hand disfigurement made it all but impossible to make any more at this time. So they were very valuable for you. You may even still have something that gives you that escape that's very valuable to you. Now, your sisters were the only ones that knew of their existence. And right at their preteen age, this is kind of when the shit hit the fan, they were both badly molested at an adult occult type function. There was a rage that had been building inside of you for your whole life, and something at that time just broke. I mean, it's like something just snapped inside of you. Your sisters were almost catatonic from the amount of abuse within 2 years. You burned your puppets and your puppets/dolls in a fit of angry rage. 2 weeks later, at the men's occult meeting, you poisoned their drinks, but it wasn't strong enough to kill them all quickly. So in their weakened state, you set the building on fire and locked them inside. Your mother tried to get help, but it was too late. The army guards came. They arrested you, your mother, and your sisters. You were all executed for your crime. In this lifetime is when the sacrifice expanded. So that discordant energy expanded in sacrifice. And you may still feel dissatisfied with your parents and how they treat their children. Okay? In this lifetime, you were born to a grandnephew on your mother's side. So it was like several generations later, but it's your second time incarnated in this multi-generational contract. Your family was somewhat aristocratic and religious. Let's see. Yeah, aristocratic and religious to all the Egyptian gods. You had a pleasant childhood and had a fascination with insects and plants. You collected insects and plants and learned alchemy with the plants. Most of the insects during this time period were deadly in most cases. This fascinated you so much that later on you would become a very advanced physician for this time period. You had your own practice at a very young age of 18. However, your father wanted you to pursue politics, so you did both. You were also married to a young teenager, really almost still a child. And of course you were betrothed, so it was an arranged marriage. She was very quiet but noisy, and would constantly try to organize your work, study, and lab. You would forbid her repeatedly, and it was like having a child rather than a wife. One day, she got bitten by a deadly scorpion that was in your collection while you were at a meeting for government laws instituted by a new pharaoh. She drank every elixir in your lab trying to save her life and ended up dying in an excruciating death. When you found her, you were filled with fear fear that your lab would be dismantled and destroyed. I mean, there was no really love lost there for you in the relationship. Her family were very high ranked and had strong favor with the Pharaoh, even though secretly you were a little relieved that she was no longer a nuisance. You carefully wrapped and mummified her body and hid her in an abandoned tomb. You then bribed a slave girl to have 2 children with you. You made excuses for your pregnant, ailing wife, and fortunately, she got on everyone's nerves. And after the first child was born, so they didn't really miss her. I mean, they would ask about her, but it was like, okay, she's not here. Okay, she's sick, she's pregnant, good. And after the first child was born, she was all but forgotten. Like, ooh, all they cared about was the new baby, right? When the second child was born, you broke the news that she died in childbirth. You retrieved her body, and she was put to rest. You married 3 more times, and all 3 died in childbirth. You felt cursed and drowned yourself in work and studying your passions for insects and plants. Your children grew up and had many children of their own. You may still be unresolved about having children, or you attract partners who are highly immature for you. It doesn't even have to do with age, just they are immature emotionally and just on that whole relationship level. Now, the third lifetime. In this lifetime, it was similar to the last lifetime, with the exception that you were in love with your wife. She was the most beautiful woman you had ever seen. She was immature, but in a silly and innocent way that gave you great joy. You had 2 beautiful children together, 1 boy and 1 girl. You were an astrologer and an alchemist in Egypt, and you were very wealthy. Isn't that cool that astrologers were wealthy back then? And alchemists were wealthy? I thought, interesting, right? I mean, some are now today, but it hasn't always been so, right? You showered your wife with the finest jewels and materials for clothes. However, not long after your youngest child turned 1 year old, and it was in the morning, and you were in bed, and you were discussing with your wife about having more children. And you were teasing your wife and trying to get her to make love, like, oh, let's make another baby. However, she had a family gathering to prepare for, and shrugged you off. Like, oh, maybe later. As you watched her get dressed, you noticed that one of her jewels in her necklace was missing. It was missing from her necklace. You asked her to remove it so that you could have it repaired, or sent in and have it repaired. And she did. As you were leaving to go to your workshop/studio lab, which was on your large estate, so it was like not part of the house, but you had to go walk to it. You noticed another jewel had suddenly gone missing. It was like it was there and then it was gone. And there was just something in you. You just gasped and turned to run back to the house to your wife. You found her slumped on the floor, and she died within minutes from a cobra snake bite. You screamed and screamed until the servants came running. You never recovered from the grief and loss of your love. Eventually, after your children were grown and with children of their own, you started collecting cobras and using them in experiments, and you somehow felt that they had captured your beloved's soul or her essence. Then one night, out of the blue, you just took one to the bed with you. You were bitten and you died. You may still feel guarded to this kind of pain of loss, and it holds you back from risk or failure, or the risk of failure. You may also fear being cursed to live alone without love, and you find more loving connections within plants, animals, crystals. You may even get a rush from dancing with dangerous activities as well, like the adrenaline rush, right? And you still, to this day, you still dream of her. Okay, the final lifetime. I know, right? In this lifetime, there were political tensions in Egypt. And the Pharaoh, who was very new, his father had just died and he inherited the throne, was a bloodthirsty narcissist and sadist. You were orphaned in this lifetime as a baby by the current Pharaoh's father. So when you were a baby, but it kind of jumped into it like when the new Pharaoh was there. You were orphaned in this lifetime as a baby by this Pharaoh's father, who executed your whole family, with exception to you. So that would have broken the generational soul contract. And this is one. You were raised in the religious order as a eunuch, so you couldn't have any children. You took care of the Pharaoh's wives and daughters. You held counsel with them and grew to be placed in charge of the sacred seers as well. Within the church, you bathed them, fed them, and took care of them and provided their every need. This gave you great appreciation energy, so that discordant appreciation, appreciating them and feeling appreciated. And you soon found that you had your own psychic gifts. You learned the art of divination and soon began to teach others these arts. In secret, you would dress like a woman, wear face paint, and pretend like you were a woman. This made you appreciate the women you took care of. And you became a popular consultant for many of the prominent women in Egypt, from fashion to conversation to gossip and vexes and potions. Even though it was against the church rules for you to make money, you still did so. By day, you were the good and dutiful church eunuch. However, by night, you drank, gambled, and threw orgies. You made a fortune in a very short amount of time. Within a few years, you left Egypt to travel to unknown lands with your riches. Your adventures became stories and legends to those you encountered on your travels. You spent the rest of your life traveling, hustling, and spreading your gifts and knowledge. You made it all the way to India. And you were old, but not old. So it's probably like, 30s or 40s, somewhere around there. But it was old for that time. You had seen so much and had a great deal of fun. By the time you reached India, you had fully embraced a woman's persona. You dressed like one, you talked like one, you acted like one, and no one knew the difference. They never knew any different. You eventually caught a fever in India, though, and passed away in your sleep. You may still dream of traveling around the world and immersing yourself into different cultures. Or you long to be part of the Peace Corps or go on some sort of missions, saving the planet, helping third world countries. Like there's something, and that does kind of tap into your divine compassion, right? Your primary. At heart, your divine compassion camouflages an activist warrior waiting to be unleashed. All right, beautiful soul. Blessings into infinity.